Good morning, Dan. I want to take a moment here and review the lesson we had the other day. As we take a look here, I kind of got the picture started up here right where we initially started talking about and what we were trying to work on as we went through the golf swing. Now, when we look at this here on the left-hand side, what we talked about here was the ability is once you start taking the club up here, you get the waist high. Everything is great, by the way. I mean, the stance looks great. Everything looks so much better from where we were originally. Now, when we look at this here, and as we go back, what I want to show you here, you get back to about waist high like we talked, and everything's looking good. But from there, it's like almost the right hand, in this case, starts picking the club straight up, taking it to the top. The left hand maybe has a little bit of direction in it, but in this case here, you can see, and the reason why I say that, you can almost see how that left wrist is starting to bow, and this right arm stays in a domineering position. And what I mean by that is as you take the club up here, watch this. Take it up, take it up, take it up. All right, you see all that right wrist, and you can almost see it right here, how it is in a bowing position. I'm going to show you right here a little bit where it's here, like this, compared to almost being flat where we'd like to see. And, you know, a lot of times people ask, well, what does that mean, or what are you talking about by that? Well, this is kind of some of what I'm talking about here. So let's go. All right. Let's go, Mr. VJ Singh. Great individual show. I think he's got a great position at the top as well. As you watch VJ go back, you can kind of see here's where we talked about here. This was at the Masters this year. But you can watch as the club goes back, goes up, right there. See that position? Wrong tool there. Sorry about that. But as you can see, this is more of a straighter line down through here. That wrist area. So, and look at the difference of where that club is. You see where his club is on the left-hand side. I mean, see where your club is on the right-hand. So as we look here, and what I was trying to say there, I do apologize. When you look at your swing on the left-hand side, we can see as that right hand is just coming into that domineering position, still staying in that position. That left wrist being, you know, kind of bowed or kind of bent in a position, so it decreases as you get further up in your golf swing. As we look at VJ Singh, you can see how that he turns his shoulders, and that left wrist still stays straight as an arrow. That right arm in a supportive position, kind of like a waiter holding a plate of dishes. You know, it's still that same position. And as the hands come down, that right elbow comes in, that right hip. What we talked about then next brings everything around, and we finish down the line. Now, you know, to show you some, you know, consistency here, you know, we'll look at Steve Stricker. Let's go to Tom Watson here. Watch Tom as Tom gets up to the top here. Same position. Now look at that left wrist here. You know, let's see how that right will stay connected. Right hip, turn through, down the line. You know, so no matter who we look at, no matter what you see, it's going to see the same thing and be basically the same. Bernard Longer. You know, watch as Bernard takes it back up to the top. You see him. He gets here. Look at that left wrist right here. Right there. Right elbow comes down, hip turns through, down and through the swing. So you know, some of the old timers, some of the new timers, you know, but still everything stays the same. Whereas sometimes what tends to be a case is as you look on your left-hand side here with yours, I want to take it back down and kind of show you a position. Right here. And watch your angle of the club as it goes up. Now watch then as you come down, it's the right shoulder wants to turn down, right arm being in this domineering position and wants to literally almost bring the club straight down right on that path. You can see it come down, the club gets a little upright, so it's showing that it's going to be going down and across your body. And you said, you know, sometimes you felt like you're not getting all the way through. You know, when we look down here at the hips, you see how you're kind of spinning out just a little bit with it. And that's where sometimes the net weight tends to want to come back a little bit, as we see here. So as we go forward, and as we talked about as we worked in the lesson here, what we try to see or what we try to do. So as we went forward here, and what we can see in the swing, initially, all I had you simply do is I had you have that feeling that as you kick the club back, we took it back to waist high. You see this position here, everything looks great. And then what I want you to feel is as that club goes up, we keep the flatter, straight wrist. You know, I give you the thought that's saying that, you know, if you put a wristband on your left wrist and had a pencil sticking out of it, you wouldn't want to dig that pencil into your wrist or your back of your hand if you bent your wrists or bent your hand as you went up. So as you did that, what you can see, and I want to rewind you here on the left-hand side here, is look at the difference already. Just in that thought of telling you that, look how the angle of the club, or in some cases, people call the plane of the club, changed over where you were here on the left-hand side. So as you took it up, started to see a little bit of it, and we just worked on trying to get a little bit of a three-quarter swing, trying to get that feel in that position here. As you went up, we came back down and through. So let's do it again. Yeah, and you can kind of see that position. See how that angle is still roughly the same position as we've seen before. Here. Now it's straighter than what we see here, but you can also see that that right arm is in definitely a little more of that supportive position. Domineering here, supporting here. So as you see that there, still had a little bit of that up and over, but when we look here up and over here, compared to up and over here, big difference. I mean, night and day difference as we see this. So what we want to pay close attention to as we do this. So as we come down, you know, we see that position down and through, but most importantly, look at the difference just already in the position of how your body looks here, going up and around, compared to where we are on the left-hand side. Now, as we look at this here, and just kind of show you, a difference as well, I want to fast forward this picture on the left-hand side. And what you can see as you do this here, and as we work on it, we kind of talked about tying together that position of that right hand, that right arm, coming down and through impact, and trying to emphasize it a little bit more than where we had in the past by hitting the so you can see that right here, you transition down and through. So when we kind of talked about things, and as we went forward with this, there's just a position of trying to get you, as you took it up right here, feeling that flat left wrist. Now, in order to hold that position or hold that thought as you came down and through impact, I told you I want you to feel that right hip turning through. So as you got to impact, we were more here compared to, you see little to no turn here on the right-hand side. Now when we look at this right wrist here, right hip there, see a little bit of engagement of the right knee making the turn, but you can definitely see it a little bit more here on the right-hand side as you were doing it here as well. And that's kind of what we're kind of focusing on, which allows for a better weight transfer, better position, allowing you to hold that position down and through. So this here, what I kind of had you feel is the pump drill. Now by doing the pump drill, it was pump it twice, come down to that position, here, holding that position, much better overall, night and day, as we look at here. And then the last one, feeling that transfer down and it turns through. Now you can see the difference here on the left-hand side compared to the right, just in the way, as we look at this one, how you didn't spin out here compared to where you spun out a little bit here. Now, and that's all I was wanting you to do. Nice and easy, about 40%, maybe 75% of the golf swing, but feeling that transition down and through impact. Now, Obviously, we have three factors there. One, the straight left wrist. Two, that right elbow coming down the side. And then three, that right hip turning through. Kind of tying that into where we've talked about in the past here. But as we go forward, what we kind of worked on as we kept going with it was that ability that as you did this, I want you up. Let's see it right here. We're up. You see how the hands go out? And what I mean by the hands go out, left wrist looks good here. We look good, but then let's see like those hands try to drop down. Now you try to turn the hip, getting it through. So now it changes that path, and that's where the ball goes a little right on it. Wasn't as consistent on this one as we were doing this. And that was the whole point of why I had put this club out here, outside the line, saying that if you go that way, or if you come outside, what's going to happen here is you'll hit that pole, which obviously you can clearly see you're far from it. But it was still that illusion or that position that I wanted you to see as you did things. So going forward, so far we talked about the pump drill. Just a drill, just trying to feel that position down and through. Now here, similar type of position. We're looking better at the top. Hold on one second here. Down, enter. All right. And you can kind of see just that little position of where like this one here, what I had you do is I had you pause it at the top. Had you pause. See, and there's a little bit of that right that, we're still kind of getting out of it. And it takes for a little bit, but, most importantly, if you have that straight left wrist, which you can kind of see there's a little mow right there. But if we have that straight left wrist, and more importantly, that right elbow tends to be in more of that supportive position where it's not at an angle here where that right hand's taken over. And I think that's kind of our position here, that when we see this, we want to stay consistent with it. And I was having you do the pump drill in this case as you're doing this. But you can see on some of them, and sometimes you don't see it exactly all the way, but this is where you see more of it, that right arm, right forearm being in that position. And then you can almost see how as the club comes down, it's coming down very steep, down and through. And you see how that one there, you caught it right on the heel. And you can kind of watch how that ball went to the right. Now, because of that, that's what you tend to see. So what I was wanting you to think about, and what if you do is consistent with it, is instead of feeling the hands coming out this way, what we wanted was, as we go back in these other views here, what you see is that kind of pump. The right elbow comes down, and it could even be more so than what we see here. And when I say be even more so, it could be where the hands drop straight down. But in order to do this properly, that's where, as we do the right elbow, we do the hands, and the hands come down. That's where the importance of that right hip. So by the importance of the hands coming down, you can kind of see the hands come out a little bit, and that's where some of our right comes from. So just by doing the pump, that's kind of what I want you to feel, is feeling the hands come down. Now that's where I showed you with VJ. That's where it is, the difference is right there. Right here. This is the position right here that we want here. And watch the hands. Hands come down here. And look at the lag or the position of the golf club here compared to the position of your golf club here. And that's just a difference of when the hip starts, and you can kind of watch VJ. At the same time that those hands fall, that hip engages. Hip, hip, hip. Okay? Now, Dan, by all means, if you have any questions in working on this, let me know. Give me a call, shoot me an email, one of the two. But by all means, let's see if we can get this straightened out. And if you have just the littlest questions, stop by the range, let me know. If not, shoot me an email, michaelwyattgolf@gmail.com, or give me a call at